Hello YouTube, welcome back to KLA Sports. I'm your host Kyle Alexander, and we are back here today. Now I know the whole coronavirus outbreak. I hope everybody is staying safe out there. And I know in the last videos I said I was gonna keep up with the series, and it's only 9 days, like 9 days till the draft now. So I'm gonna do more of the free agency reviews for each team, and I'm going by division. So I did AFC North, and then and I'm doing the NFC North right now. And then after that is gonna be I'm going going clockwise if I'm yeah I'm going clockwise, so it's going to be AFC East, NFC East, AFC South, AFC, NFC South, and then we're going to finish off with the East. But today we're still in the North as we are kicking off with in the NFC North with the Green Bay Packers. So without further ado, let's hop right into it. So I'm going to put up the additions and losses right here. So in the offseason, the Green Bay Packers have they kept tight end Mercedes Lewis, who is an older veteran tight end. And at that point, I think they need to get younger because we all know his problem was his time in Jacksonville, and he's been reliable in Green Bay. But I think that's a position you can get younger at. Green Bay needs to start thinking about the future. You know, they just got young corners in Jair Alexander and Kevin King not too long ago. Well, they just got Zadarius Smith. Although I'm pretty sure he's in his mid to late 20s. Um, who else? Devontae Adams is He's in his mid 20s. I'm pretty sure. But yeah, Devontae Adams is like a key part of the future. They got a good running back. Rodgers is getting older, so they need to find an heir for him soon. But yeah, I think Green Bay just needs to start thinking about the future and start getting younger. Even though they're in the contend now mode. Plus I feel like if they get a younger tight end, they can still get better at that position. Like I say, he's been reliable for them. Next up is linebacker Christian Kirksey, who was cut by the Cleveland Browns. He's a good linebacker. He's a good tackler, and he's a nice piece on the contending roster. He wasn't the greatest linebacker in Cleveland, but he's definitely one of the better ones. You know, he was serviceable. He was still he did his role, did his job, and I think this would be a nice piece on the Cleveland team, on not a Cleveland, excuse me, on a Green Bay team that is contending for a Super Bowl. Next up, they got wide receiver Devin Funchess, who is he's a great number two receiver. I remember this is my opinion on Devin Funchess. He's purely a number two receiver. When he was in Carolina, and I think they call it like Steve Smith. I'm pretty sure he became the number one. I'm like, I don't see that working out. I don't really see him being the number one. Then he goes to Indianapolis, where he's next to T.Y. Hilton. T.Y.'s the number one there, so I'm like, all right, Funchess, this is more of a better role for him. He's the number two receiver. He's the guy that he's the guy that he's the guy that flourishes on like another receiver being double teamed or teams worrying about them. That's my thing. And now he's in Green Bay with Devontae Adams. They finally get Aaron Rodgers some help, get him and Adams some help. So now Funchess can be a good producer at receiver. Team's gonna be like, all right, now they have two receivers now. So like, you gotta figure out. Which I'm pretty sure teams are still gonna worry about Devontae Adams more than Devin Funchess, but it's just that thought. And now they have two receiver threats. They also added offensive tackle Rick Wagner, who's a veteran tackle. He got cut by Detroit, so he pretty much swapped teams and just came to Green Bay. They lost Brian Bulaga, and honestly, they're both pretty good blockers, and I think they're both they pretty much got the same player. I think they're pretty similar players like at their position. So they didn't really lose much. I'm pretty sure Wagner's a year younger. I'm not sure. Wagner is one of them is only like a year younger than him, so they're both still like all in their early 30s. All right, now time for the losses. They lost linebacker Blake Martinez, who signed with the New York Giants. He wasn't that great of a linebacker. He's honestly the most overrated linebacker in the league. Because he's a good tackler. Like people see him and he's like, oh, he's a top linebacker because he gets tackles, but it's like, okay, if you look, Green Bay is one of those defenses that's usually out on the field, that has been out on the field for a long time. And, like you're going to generate, linebackers are the main players that generate tackles. So if you're out on the field for a longer time, you're going to generate more tackles. It just makes sense. So he's just been over it. Like, he's not really that great in coverage. So, yeah, I didn't really think they lost much. And they got Christian Kirksey. Still need linebackers, but yeah, that's just my opinion. He's overrated. They lost offensive tackle Brian Bulaga, who went to the Chargers. He's a great veteran tackle. He was protection for Rodgers, but like I said, they got Rick Wagner, so they didn't lose much at that position. They were able to replace it. They also lost tight end Jimmy Graham, who they cut, and he signed with the Bears. I'm gonna just say he's washed. Like, he was washed up. Not the same player he was in New Orleans or even Seattle. But he was becoming a cap casualty. He was the highest paid tight end in the league, and like that money could have been used somewhere else where he didn't. He was playing like he didn't deserve that money. So now they cleared up money. They move on. Yeah, that's just my opinion on it. He's not the same player that he was. Next up, last player they lost is wide receiver Geronimo Allison, who signed with the Lions. I think he was a wide receiver with upside. I think everybody was writing him off as the number 2 receiver to Davante Adams, because the whole question was who's going to be that number 2 receiver, who's going to be that second receiving threat next to Davante Adams. Everybody looked at 2 players, Geronimo Allison and Marquise Valdes-Scantling. Scantling's good, but Allison, he had that size, he had the speed. He could have been a compliment to Adams, but Allison is just one of those guys that they look to be a compliment, maybe even like a third receiver. But now they got Devin Funchess, who is better. So yeah, they didn't lose much. All right, so that was their free agency. Now a grade, it wasn't a bad free agency, so I give them a B. I give them a grade of a straight B, solid B. It was a decent offseason. They got a compliment wide receiver for Davante Adams and Devin Funchess, who's gonna provide speed and speed and deep threats. They also they're making veteran moves, or they're signing veterans, making veteran moves to contend now. They lost Bulaga. What did they do? Went to Detroit, got somebody from Detroit who got cut in Rick Wagner. They got Christian Kirksey at linebacker. They're most probably going to draft a linebacker in the draft. I wouldn't be surprised. Like, if Patrick Queen's still there or Zach Bond, they might take him. And then Mercedes Lewis. They're getting players who know the roster, or they're getting older players who know the game and are serious about winning the championship, and they're trying to contend now. And they're upgrading defenses piece by piece every year. So you saw 2 years ago, 2 years ago, you got Jair Alexander. I'm pretty sure year or two before that they got Kevin King. Then they got Jair Alexander. Last year they got added Zadarius Smith and Preston Smith. They also added Adrian Amos at safety after losing Ha Clinton-Dix. So they've just been adding defensive players piece by piece. And now with Christian Kirksey and the draft coming up, probably if they go after, they're targeting Patrick Queen or Zach Bond or maybe even Jordan Brooks from Texas Tech. That's how I would approach it. And maybe in the second round get a tight end. If he's there, take Bryson Hopkins. But in Green Bay, they're going to be another playoff team. They're just the moves that they're making now are good moves that are helping them to contend now. All right, that is it for this episode of KLA Sports. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe below. So let me know in the comment section below what you graded the Packers all season, what moves you think they could have done, what they should have done, and also who you think they'll draft in the first round. But yeah, that's it. So like I said, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Stay safe out there. Wash your hands. And I'll talk to you guys next time.